podcast. Come take this walk with me.
Welcome back to the Three Parallels podcast with your host, the brother Dr. Jason Branch, a show where we rediscover who we were, embrace who we are, make room for who we're trying to become. If that is you, you're in the right place at the right time because today, coming to you live from Battlecast Studios. Where's Battlecast Studios? In the heart, the basement of Gator University. We out here kicking it, living, and doing. And being, because the being that I'm bringing to the show today is my brother from another mother. We've met once in person, and it felt like we've been connected for about 20 years.
That's
This
all it
brother,
takes.
this brother is bad. I mean, it's kind of like meeting a version of me that I didn't even know existed within me. This is who this guy is. He's a counselor. He's a counselor, educator, therapist, licensed, student, father, an agent for change within himself, within the community, within the culture. He's an icon. He's a student. He's a learner. He's a listener. He, to me, is one of the most diverse brothers I've ever met, meaning he's so many different things. And whoever he connects with, however he connects, he decides who he allows you to see. This brother I'm talking about is the one, the only, future doctor, Clarence Bumpas. Welcome to the show, baby.
I appreciate that, but you can't forget the K, right? Shout out to baby K. That's for him,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
noticed y'all
Yes.
see that there's two of them in there, right? One's for me and one's for he. I took that little page out of the Great Late Bell Hooks, man. I love how she chooses to acknowledge herself, right? In the all capitals and the decolonial style. So I decided to do a little something, something. How
So
you
this,
doing?
I love it. This is where we're gonna start. I told y'all we're in the basement. So Clarence K Bumpus, future doctor. So tell us about the K and the K
Man,
and the
yeah,
connection to
so
Bell Hooks, because Bell Hooks come up on this podcast a few times, and now we
Mhm.
finna just continue to bring this story to light. So feel free.
Oh yeah, always gotta honor the greats, right? That paved the way. And I don't think we do enough of it. And my little piece with her, and I know that mine aren't even uncapitalized still because I'm trying to make a way, right? She had hers solidified, and so she got to do that. My piece is the first K, right? My name is Clarence Keon Bumpus, right? And my son's name is Keon Justice Bumpus. And so, because I'm a first gen healer, I'm the first gen hope dealer, I'm the first gen doc student, first gen any degree thing, anything. I felt it necessary to make sure that he knew he was always being honored, and that even when people were unaware of what was happening in our dynamic or our relationship, he was always first, right? And they had to put some respect on his name before they knew he existed. No
Mm,
exploitation available. You feel me?
powerful, powerful. How we gonna start the show like this? Like, how you just gonna come out here?
Shit, I've been cooking, Doc. You already know I had a hot heart before, right? Like and the way things have been happening, Doc, like I know we talked about putting the shield and the sword to the side, and it has been the most difficult thing for me to do without acknowledging how the great late bell hooks, right, acknowledged the compartmentalization of masculinity and this perpetration of like this patriarchal need to fight, and without rest being acknowledged as true resistance, right? Like the need to disengage and be inactive and make folks actually do the me search and research. Shout out to Consciously for that one. I don't want him to think I'm robbing his shit if he ever were to come across this. But I truly do think that sometimes the best thing you can do is know what you're capable of doing, but choosing not to do it because you have that level of insight and you've been playing chess and you know how they want it to play out.
Mm, mm.
Right. So I'm falling back to fall back into not only myself, but my authority and my agency, and figure out how to master doing less, but still getting more out of the intention behind the
Yes.
action.
Yes. And you're already talking about layers. You're already in the basement. We're already talking about history, ancestry, generation. Like you're talking about so many things in what you just shared. And I want to talk about both because this new world that you're in of I don't have to fight the same. I'm putting the
Hmm.
the, the sword down, the shield down. I'm still fighting, but I'm fighting differently.
Hmm.
And I'm curious to know what was the old fight like with the sword and the shield, the gat and everything, whatever else you had, and the fight now, because these sounds like two different people.
Mm. Okay. So thank you for that piece, right? Because to be quite honest, it never really feels that way, right? It feels just like integration and evolution. You know how like is when we do IFS and we do like parts work, right?
Hmm.
And we're looking at the younger version of myself that was just as radical, but pushing in different directions because that was I'll say the limit of my exposure to my platform, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
what the past fight looked like was true justifiable rage and confrontation and conflict, right? I want
Hmm.
friction. I
Hmm.
truly believe comfort doesn't grow, right? So like I get in and even getting into the doc program, my interview was like, hey, what are your areas for growth? And I'm like, not personalizing, spazzing out on people in my proximity who are playing with my shit. And when I say my shit, I mean the field, I mean my people, I mean all the way across the board, from global majority, right, to the bigger scope of the meso and Indo systems, to all the way back into my direct community of the Olympic city of Colorado Springs, right, and all of the little indigenous babies running around this planet right now, excuse me. So now the fight looks like, okay, how do I use my privilege
Hmm.
to serve those and create a pattern of exposure to a part of themselves that is non-complicit in like compromising their own character just to get along and comfort other people,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that's where we're at now. It went from radically like just in your face, daring people, right, to challenge my black privilege, right, and be willing to engage in patriarchal forms of combat to assert, right, this black body and how much you cannot use it,
Hmm.
versus now I'm fighting with, right? It's more art of war, right? Like it's more me pulling back and recognizing that you've been playing a game on me.
Ooh,
And so now
ooh.
I stand tall, right? And I let you know that the game is over and we play by my rules, right? And because I've played by your rules long enough and I just wiped the slate, like y'all don't get to change it now. I read your
Yes.
rules and I'm holding you accountable in your own structural ways. And now, just like the great brothers in the Black Men chat, right? Like Dr. Cofield and them, just talked to him yesterday. Shout out to him for blessing me with some space
Yes. Yes.
using that research platform, that revered, right, ivory towered persona, that space, right, that safe space to be in the ivory tower, using that as an actual form of justice and advocacy instead of just to enhance your own status.
Come on. Whoo. Man, listen, I kick folks off the show for what you just did, okay?
Look, you better keep it here because you already know where else it's going, and I don't think they're ready. We talked about that.
Not at all. Not at all. But this platform, this space, we ready. So we're gonna talk about it. Because there's an umbrella. You said this a little earlier off the record. I'm gonna put it on the record because it's the umbrella. And underneath this umbrella is two concepts that you talked about. So the umbrella is, and I'm quoting, an HR nightmare.
Hmm.
That's
Dang.
the umbrella. Underneath that, one side is the justifiable rage,
Hmm.
and the other side is black privilege. Let's connect these dots, man.
Oh
So,
yeah.
what is this? Just because you and I, we speak the same language and we get it. We ain't got to work that hard. But there's a lot of people listening who have no idea what the hell we're talking about. And that's okay because, because what we're talking about hits different people in different places, spaces, and times. And for me, you can catch up at any time. And for anybody listening, if you don't get it, rewind. If you don't get it, go back to season one, episode one. If you don't get it, you got Chat GPT, Google, and everything else. We're going to give you us, and you can do what you will. So I would love to unpack justifiable rage, unpack black privilege, because there's people who've never heard these terms. Let's talk about it.
Mm. Mm. Ooh, where do we even start? I was trying to do some notes on my own over here, and now I'm like, okay, let's go. So
Hmm.
I'll start with the justifiable rage. Given history and how we have been repainted and repictured and rebranded to ourselves, our community, and the world at large, right? We have been typecast into two types of individuals, the angry Malcolm or the passive Martin, right? And so there is this boring dichotomy of like limited emotional and justifiable anger, right? And they cover it with passivism. Like passivism's not born from, right, a space of anger and understanding, right? To where I know what I need, I know what's not right, but now I just have to use an opposite force, right, to try to get somewhere safely. But my piece is all of those things are the same. And all of
Mm.
those things are justifiable because they happen and you can't erase them. So the
Yes.
situation is instead of or running away, right? It's more leaning into to embrace the power of your anger and the anger that's not even yours, right? And I peeped this part when I was doing a somatic workshop on myself, right? It was an intergenerational piece. I was learning a training. And so we had to engage in the practice ourselves. And the deal was like I was bolstering and hoarding, or as bell hooks would say, like we're compartmentalizing this piece, right? And we're just
Mhm.
letting this shit fester and we're trying to avoid it until it's necessary. And then when it becomes necessary, it's usually at our own detriment,
Whew.
right? It's usually when you're showing up to protect, it's usually when you've got to provide or when you've got to
Mm.
produce. Right. And
Mm.
so my whole piece is, yeah, all those things are justifiable. Now, when you take it back to the generational tree, right? The intergenerational piece of how this rage was born. You look at those productive values, those protective factors, right? And those providences that were either failed or societally judged as a impartial, right? Or a less than. And you can feel where this shit is coming from. So it exists. And the
Yes.
problem is we are running around as fractions of ourselves and displaying and regurgitating this ideal of like misogynist masculinity, right? That falls into this toxic line. And we're letting people who do not embrace all of themselves in whole dictate that faction, or those who've never even engaged in masculinity because one, they couldn't anatomically or whatever, and two, because they've never lived in the experience of embodied black masculinity. And I hate the term black because of how it was given to us. And also, that's another conversation. So I will say that's where I'll put the pin there. I almost went crazy.
So we speak the same language. I appreciate you laying all of this down because there's so many layers, there's so many parallels, and this term for me, black privilege, that we can stand on is my definition relates to everything that you're talking about, the systems, the culture, the background, and for me to make it real plain, I feel as though everything relates back to enslavement of people.
Before that,
Even further.
I
Even
didn't even.
for
Oh yeah, like keep going on your black privilege because I was
E-
still talking about justifiable rage, right? I was
yes.
still there because that's a part of the black privilege, right? That's what
Yes.
everybody wants. That's that essence that everybody keeps selling.
Mm, yes.
That's what everybody wants. That's the
Yes.
privilege.
Yes. So this privilege is despite the rage, despite justifiable rage, despite all these things that I have to go through just to be here, to be present, to be available. There is privilege in being able to put down the sword, putting down the shield, and using exactly what you're pointing to, which is our mind and our voice. And for many of us, because of the justifiable rage, what's justified is the reason behind the fight. I've always had to. And now being in a place and space where I'm going to fight differently, and this fight has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. Everything to do with me. That's black privilege because I now have the privilege of, despite all the things that's happened before me, I'm here now and I'm taking up a lot of space. That's a
Boom,
privilege. That's a
boom.
privilege because it's not designed for me to do or to be this way. And evidence, and I'll speak a little bit related to academia because that's where we share space. It's usually just us. And even in 2026, and this
One more
came up
time
in
for the people
previous
in the back with
for
the
pre-
bad connection.
the previous episode, I've talked about this. Now, this is your evidence. Okay. So, for those who may not have only heard this from me, now you have evidence of somebody that's in it 10 years post my time.
Mm,
So, how are we still dealing with the same things up until this point? And regardless of what we're dealing with, I am who I am, and I'm not going to change that for you or anybody else. That is a privilege. So, this black
mm,
privilege identity to me is uh, we're living life in a way that's very different, that pays homage to those before us. We stand on the shoulders of giants. And this conversation alone speaks volumes to that because I've been placed in your path, you've been placed in mine to help uplift each other. That's black privilege as well.
mhm.
Because what we receive from each other, we usually can't get from all or from everyone, even the people that may look like us. And that's why this connection is so great. And that's why even with one meeting, it's like we've been together for life. So that's my
Facts.
perspective. But I would love to hear any addition to that thought.
My bad. I got excited. You got me excited. Like I obviously, so what you were saying, right? Just to circle back, because that's what great therapists do, right? Like you said it. That's exactly why these kind of things are so special, right? Because it's easy to be complicit, right, in the destruction or the compromise of your own character when you're trying to survive and exist, given the history of individuals who've done the opposite, same folks that we're talking about, right, who tried to be proactive and who tried to engage in what the great late Dr. Cross would say is the dual consciousness of negrescence, right? All of these things that are coincidentally gatekept and hoarded after being pirated and perverted by the very people. So what I've been doing is radically supervising, radically researching, radically reading. I won't engage in anything, right? That is and even if I have to, right, for sake of academia, where the ivory tower Howards love to play and be safe because there is there's no real accountability in that space because you're presenting and publishing things that are not talked about from protected classes of marginalized populations that have been gate kept intentionally out of said practices, even though those very practices, like the hierarchy of needs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, are all indigenous and from these very cultures, right? So
Mm.
my whole thing has always been about the communication, right? And they say he who owns communication owns culture. So, with that being said, the reason why our culture, and my personal opinion, feels like they have no privilege or we're not allowed to access most of these things, these rights, these basic human fucking rights
Yes, indeed.
is because they are only talked about when it suits the individual and the group the individual is trying to serve or cater to, right?
Mhm.
Even if they're exploiting the very group that they're trying to acknowledge, which is why everybody's stuck under the fucking BIPOC umbrella, right? Instead of
Mhm.
being celebrated at every facet of Black identity or marginalized identity or cultural identity or whatever the hell, right? And it's because people come to these places and they change, like politics.
Whew. Whew. Listen, I got an Uber Black car coming up to your house right now because I'm gonna get your ass up out of here.
Look, man, I feel as deeply as I think about these things, and with everything happening locally,
Mhm.
communally, nationally, globally,
Yeah.
it's all circling back to the same historical precedents, right? Of individuals being mistreated because they represent, right, an impoverished global majority, and they've been gate kept out of their own history from their own history. Right. And the craziest thing is we literally find these fancy words and we have them clinically digitized or monetized. clinically
Let's go.
monetized.
Let's go.
And then what happens is, right, we forget when we get in there that we have to culturally transcribe this shit to make it make
Yes.
sense. And as you
Yes.
said earlier, right, put it where the goats can get it, right?
Come on.
We
Come
put
on.
it there for everybody because it should have access.
Yes.
It should have access to everybody and everyone should have access to it. Now, what they do with that shit is on them,
True story. True story. So this
given
is
their
so
capacity to do it, damn it.
yeah. This is so good, man. I feel like I'm talking to myself. Like I really feel like I'm
Because
talking to
you
my damn
are. You talk to
self.
yourself, you talk to your son, you talk to your father, just like I'm talking to my father, just like I'm talking to my son and my cousin and my brother, right? And the sooner we understand that shit, the easier
Yes.
healthcare as a whole would be.
All facts all day. All facts all day. So that takes us back because we just went a lot of different places. And we're really
Always.
deep right now. I'm talking about bottom of the ocean on the Titanic. We at the bar right now. That's how deep we are. So I want to go back to something because this conversation is the living and breathing history of my dissertation.
Mm,
And I'm so proud and so impressed because
mm,
with the stigma, the barriers, the justification, all this stuff that's happened and that we know about within the helping profession, specifically within counseling, for us as black men, these conversations oftentimes don't happen. If they do, it's in the barbershop and it's probably off.
hmm.
We have it.
And it's
We may be off.
convoluted and it's
All of
pushed
that.
back into trending topics
Uh,
of pop
uh,
culture and
yes,
shit.
indeed. All of that. So,
Uh,
how did you
mhm.
overcome the barriers, the stigma, the stereotypes, the idea, the ideology? How did you overcome that to decide this is what I'm going to do? This is why I'm doing it. And this is who I am and who I help. What was it for you to make this decision to get into this profession and not just get in it, but to excel, to really find your lane, find your voice, find your truth, and to be this version of you? Where did this come from? How did you
Mm.
do it?
Damn, I know you saw my initial response, and I was like, and that was to the initial, who said I overcame anything, right? Like I'm still in the
Mm.
mix. I'm in the emotional matrix daily, right? And
Mhm.
I'm choosing actively to retain my title as crash out and recovery for the greater good, right? Of the young Niji and the individuals who are in the game or entering
Mhm.
that need not fear be themselves, but to bring
Mhm.
themselves right to the situation and let it be their actual like prosperous factor, right? And that right there is my answer, right? Like that's how I've decided to engage and not only engage, but to allow all of the stereotypical, hyper perfectionistic trauma responses, or as I call them, traumatic superpowers, right?
Mm.
Shout out to the
Okay.
Ace babies. Um, but to allow those things to serve as capital rather than these exceptional, compartmentalized, stereotypical leashes for colonial use, right? So
Mhm.
hyper perfectionism, hyper overachieving, right? All of these things put me in a place where I not only attained a fellowship to the MBCC and my master's, which is where I met a lot of the great brothers that actually built the bridge to us,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because we were at the symposium, we're law and ethics and symposium this year when we
Yes,
got
indeed.
to break bread and actually build, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that was the kickoff, right? That was the kickoff because I was at a private Christian master's college. And the reason I ended up there for sake of time was I didn't want to continue radically hating something I only knew from my own lens.
Mm.
And the way I grew up and with my Southern roots and with my people, right, doing the pretentious Christianity thing and not even understanding their origin of, right, the Ethiopian version and their version from Kemet, etc., right? Like I was just frustrated and I was confused. And
Mm.
when a confused little neurospicy man, right, who's literally growing into whatever version of man, boy, child, black person, whatever you want to identify, he has to create these molds by self, right? And there is a bunch of different versions around. And I've engaged in almost all of them, right? From the dope dealers to the gang members to the right, everything that my father was, I became.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I had an exposure pattern through, right, again, the traumatic superpower of ability and the over objectification, sexualization, right, and exploitation of black male body, right, that sent me to one of the plantations, also known as Division One, right, to go shuck and jive in some field and play foosball. So I play foosball, right, and it wasn't until I peeped the plantational environment and the colonial abuse that I realized that I was still banging in the wrong direction because I was working harder than the people working me hardest to
Whew.
replace me quickest and to make the most
Quick,
without me
quick pause.
being cut in.
Quick pause. Quick pause.
Shit.
Future Dr. Bumpus. Quick pause.
Don't give
Because
me no lecture hall.
we
It's
gotta let the
over.
list we gotta let the listeners catch up. Okay, we gotta
My
let the
bad.
listeners
My bad, y'all.
catch up.
My bad.
No,
I'm
no
not good at this
apology
part.
needed. No apology
It
needed.
wasn't an
We just
apology. It was more of a space breather because you said they
okay,
needed
yeah.
some time. I was saying, yo, yo,
Yes.
okay.
Listen, I know my listeners. We all a little spicy out here, okay? So some people like, come on, more. And other people like, whoa, wait a minute. Let's press pause.
Did he just say what I think? Whoa. Y'all right. And there
So
was a lot of
there,
impartial thoughts. My bad.
there's a
Tangential and shit.
you're good. You're good because this is the place and space for it. Because if anybody's paying attention, you're giving several lessons. Several. There's several layers, several lessons, especially with, talking about the experiences that you've had that led you to where you are and your ability to see beyond the surface, to
Hmm.
see beyond the game, to learn the rules of the game and decide to play it differently or to get out of the game because I know it's a game. I'm out. I'm going to do something else. So I need you to know that what you're sharing is insightful, is impactful. It to me is legendary because you have an ability to see things beyond the surface. And then when you see them, you don't just accept it for what it is. You want to go deeper. I want to know more. Now I'm curious. So you're willing to do the hard things and always have, which to me speaks volumes to who you are and all that you've overcome. In addition, going further, because you talk about parallels all day long, what you overcame related to what you were indoctrined into from your
Hmm.
father.
Hmm.
Like, there's no other man besides my dad. You know what I mean? Like, period.
And I don't even know him, right? I know
They-
of him and I know what he has passed along based on the remnants, right, in my environment, right? So I'm picking up
Mm,
what I'm putting down,
all day long, all day
right?
long. And that's where you were. Because for you
Still
to
am.
be where you are, yes, it's a part of you, but you had to move differently in order to be where you
Hmm.
are.
Hmm.
Now, you may have
Hmm.
started back up some shit once you got here, but you
Look, you technically got to do it, right? But no, you're right. You're right.
So
It's
yeah,
just a
like
parallel
this
process.
this this journey, man. Where I'm curious if we can go back far enough. Where did this level of insight, vision, and courage come from?
Oh, that's a funny one. Because I truly think fear, courage, bravery, and stupidity share a line, right? The only difference is, right, like how confident you feel when you get done. So dead ass, I fail a lot, right?
Hmm.
Gracefully at times. Um, More so just raw, right?
Hmm.
And there hasn't been any shortcuts because, as you said earlier, right? Like until we started to run into these representative communities that were externally, right, at first, there was no model. It was just what I could think of and what I created and what I felt was necessary based on what was presented and what need was showing up, and more so, what the hell I needed when I could put myself in that position of like, damn, why is there no where my niggas at? Like I need somebody help. Like god damn. Like I everywhere I go, right? I gotta be the man of the house type shit. And I'm like, bro, I don't even know what the fuck that is outside of like domestic terrorism and borderline like just hypocrisy, bro. Like I could tell you a billion and things on what I learned from my pop when we
Yeah.
actually had connections.
Uh-huh.
However, I could tell you more and write a volume series on what I learned in the absence of a healthy, paternal dynamic and a model, right? Because that's what gave me the traumatic clairvoyance to see the game. That's what made me
Mm,
successful in sports. That's what made me successful in everything, right? Because
yeah.
you can see and feel what's happening based on the approach. And so once I knew that everybody loved those athletic brothers who could do the foosball, and I started getting recruited and full-time offers in high school,
Yeah.
oh, the game was sold. Didn't know
Mm,
how I was gonna do it, but I knew I had a ticket to go do something different.
yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
I got recruited by I don't even know how many. And when I took my full ride scholarship as a D1 player, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know there were different versions of D1. I didn't know there were mad divisions, right? I bro, I hated sports. I did that shit because it was a ticket.
Mm,
Man, most of the scholarships that I actually got the privilege to turn down came off the backs of other athletes whose dads were literally pumping them through the system.
mm,
And because they see a young Niji next to and an adjacent, and I'm the one popping up in film, now there's exposure. So
yeah.
I know for a fact you want something out of me because I didn't seek you.
Yeah.
What is it though?
Yeah.
And what can I get in exchange that literally you're not telling me about because you know what I mean? Like the way you're approaching me is the same way I've seen my dad approach niggas when he's trying to finesse. Same way I've seen individuals, right, who I used to run with, right, do what they did to get the better of people or to fawn into behaviors, right?
Mm, mm, So this is a whole nother level.
My bad, my bad. Keep going.
Listen, you are not allowed to apologize on this show for being you. Okay. So let that be known. No
Trying to
apology
let
needed
everybody catch up.
necessary.
I segued. I
Yeah,
was doing a thing
you
and I got a
could.
bad habit at it.
So to navigate that space in place, and I appreciate how eloquently you shared your truth, your experience. You've overcome that, surpassed that, and now you're navigating a new game in the ivory tower.
Factos.
But you're navigating this game in the ivory tower as you. And that's one thing I got to give you credit for, man. I don't mind saying it here. I will love giving you your flowers. When we first met, and even beforehand, I knew pieces, I knew remnants. Like, yeah, I've heard about this guy, blah blah blah. And then when we when we meet, it's like, oh, you're him. You're
That's
the guy.
him.
That's
Right?
him. And what stood out to me the most is you are your authentic self, no matter what, no matter what's going on. You walk into a room, hey, things are going to shift. How did you not only develop this, but carry this with you to this environment that may be worse than the hood, in my humble opinion?
That's way worse. In the hood, motherfuckers leave you alone. In the hood, motherfuckers, until they decide they want your shit or they can't get with you to get their own with you, it turns into some other things. But here, it's a vicious cycle. So what
So
I will
if you
say
don't
is,
mind, if you don't
hell,
mind sharing your lived
I
experience, because
tried.
people need to know. People need to know.
I'll put it this way. I tried to keep my head down and out the way. I tried to just be myself in silent expression. I tried to be myself and take up as minimal space as possible. And what kept happening was it was me running from attention. It was me hiding from myself, right? I'm hiding
Mm,
from my own and without me even riding my own piece, right? With I will acknowledge my own greatness with humility and dignity and say that like it's me running from my own brilliance, it's me running from my experience, it's me doing all of these things and knowing them to be true, but trying to basically dismiss and disregard the shit because I didn't want the responsibility that came with all of that, right? Because I had just
mm,
left a space where the production value of this individual could gain a lot of that notoriety, which
mm,
usually would lead to more objectivity, more exploitation, more of the fuckery that left the individual getting used the most with the less at the end. And that was always me.
mm. Yeah, yeah.
So when I approached this space, I was very tactful. And I came right out of COVID, right? So we were the first group to be forced into tele, and then we did that damn teleconf or the telesymposium,
Yeah.
and that's where I met OG Ford and them, and I was like, well,
Mhm.
damn, I'm stuck here with all these. I gotta be mindful and tactful. I'm stuck with these other color folks and I'm stuck with these chocolate covered colleagues of mine in this Christian school to where um I was being blocked in, right? And I was being
Mhm.
it's kind of like when you're being overexposed and you're they're like trying to be influenced, motherfucker, right? To
Uh-huh.
comply or conform. And I was almost there because I was really
Yeah.
about to just leave the shit all in total. Because I was like, if they ask me to do another faith-informed, whatever the hell, and they tell me to use the Bible as another book in a class, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
that's not counseling, right? And then all of a sudden I met y'all, and then I met Dr. Ford, and Dr. Ford kept it a buck in his session. And the brother literally he's the reason why like no disclaimers, no safeties, like none of those warnings. Like this shit is raw. And I was like, yeah, that's
Hmm.
it. And from that
Yeah.
moment, I asked him literally following, I said, hey, look, you mentioned something about a board of directors. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it sounds like mentors to me.
Yeah.
I'm over here in Whiteland, Colorado, right
Yeah.
by myself in all my blacktivity.
Mm.
Will you be my board of directors? And the
Yeah.
brother didn't even second guess shit. He sent me a response same day and said, yes, I got you. And from that point on, I've known that I can be my authentic black ass self. And I don't have to compromise shit as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm doing it better than my colleagues because that's inevitable. Twice
Yes.
exceptionalism is right because the higher we go, the more you do just to be left alone.
Yes.
And so I hit the
Yes.
stage. Dr. Ford and them gave me the keys and I ran with
Wow. Wow, man. This touched my heart because Dr. Ford was one of my mentors as well when I first got in.
it.
Yes, indeed. As a
That's
fellow.
the mayor. That's the
Yeah,
mayor of
yeah.
counseling, man.
2016 fellow. He was one of the first black men I seen. And in my story with him, because big shout out, Dr. Ford. If y'all know, y'all know. If you don't, stick
You
around.
will.
You will, you will. So Dr. Ford and I, our beginning relationship was through mentorship because I was at the symposium and he was
Mhm.
sitting in the front holding court. And everybody knew like when he's talking, shut the fuck up, sit back, chill. Okay.
Soak it up.
Soak it up. And just his presence, his aura to me was just like, man, this guy's different. And just like you're saying, like giving you permission to be you, because David Ford is always David Ford,
Often. And the
always
boy's swag is
a
drip
hundred
too
thousand,
crazy.
a
And
hundred
I knew
thousand
for a fact, I said, shit, he got to be my mentor because that's how I'm stepping everywhere.
all
And
day.
instead of running from the attention, he seems to learn to harvest it.
Absolutely, without a doubt. So I'm curious your perspective of, because I remember when, and now you're part of a different era, different journey, different season, because there's
Yeah.
not a lot of generations before you. And I say that because I can name and know some of the founding black men in this profession. And to go back, to me, it's about four generations, three to
Hmm.
four. And to me, my number one, just from my lens, is Don C. Locke.
Hmm.
Um, you know, Chi Sigma Iota president, ACA, like he was the
The
guy.
guy.
And his mentee is my mentor, Linwood Vereen. So you got Don, you got Linwood,
Hmm.
you got me, you got
Hmm.
you. It's four
Hmm.
generations.
Hmm.
And for you, like to
Dr.
me,
Ford, he's right
doc,
above of you,
yeah. So Dr.
right under
Ford
you.
is right underneath Linwood, and then you got me. So it's
Hmm.
like you got these generations of black men holding it down in their own lane, in their own space, and you represent the new generation, and you're coming in guns blazing. I didn't have what you have at the time until I start building community that gave me permission to be me. But it's like you already had permission to be you, and then we helped you take it to a whole nother level. But you already had it; it just went to a whole nother level. So, what was that like for you? Navigating these places and spaces, the ivory tower, and then seeing other brothers like you who wanted to support, who wanted to love on you, who wanted to uh, give you permission to be you authentically by them being who they are authentically. What was that like for you as a student, as a colleague, as a newbie in the profession?
Oh, yeah. So initially, that shit was life-giving. Because, like I said,
Mm,
I was tired. And then I was remembering why my dissension with the Christian faith and its followers were there. And I was like, okay. this took an opposite, right? Like I've gotten to know it more and I'm intimately okay with it because of my knowledge of it, right? And the
Hmm.
research that I've done on it and other, right, religions and the way that I can tie myself to each, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also not be attached to any. So the
Hmm.
groove was like, all right, cool, I'm grateful. Now, what's next? Because I started to run into professional experiences with individuals who had already hit plateaus and were
Hmm.
hiding in the pockets of private and group practice and
Hmm.
just regurgitating the same old colonial style practice with a little seasoning and calling it culturally whatever, right? And I was like, bro, so I'm like doing my time again, running from greatness. I'm like, look,
Hmm.
if anything is going to be like this Christian program at this higher level of intellectual fucking stability and prowess, right? And critical
Hmm.
thinking, if that's what I'm about to embark on, nah, gee, I'll just wait for the conference because where I'm getting my knowledge and where I'm getting filled up is with the other people who look like me. So I'll wait my year, I'll do my time,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I will struggle with a smile until I can get back to the Green Lantern cup where I can get a little
Yeah.
juice and come back and right and
Yeah.
offset the nonsense with a little
Uh-huh.
bit of real shit because it's like, hey, look, while I hear you, have you heard about? Because I was just at a conference. Have you been
Yes.
to right? And just watching the stark like blank stare was like, all right, cool. Well, you already know that now you don't have a choice.
Hmm.
Either you gonna make something shake or you gonna move and groove, right? Because one thing is certain, two things is possible. If you stay around, the environment will consume you.
Whew.
Or you will have to fight back and consume the environment. And what's gonna happen
Hmm.
then is you will be branded. It happens every so, right? Like as soon as you start playing with everybody else who's been playing, they're gonna say you've been playing too fucking rough and you don't know how to play, so they're gonna ask you to leave.
These are facts.
And
These are
that's what was
facts.
happening. So I didn't really have a choice to answer your question.
Gotcha.
It was more so just embracing it. And then when I found the community who were doing their own versions,
Yeah.
I knew for a fact that I
Hmm.
did not have to shift shit because these were the movers and groovers in the field that were actually doing the work in pracademics. They were practicing academics. These
Come
motherfuckers
on.
were actually talking that shit, walking that shit, convicted in character, and doing healing instead of performing therapy.
Oh my good. Listen. All right, pink slip is in. You said an HR nightmare. You are a podcast nightmare. You finna
I,
get the hell up out of
look,
here.
I never fit in boxes. I've been trying all my life,
And
but I
no
guess I
point
wasn't born for it, right?
at all. You're a beach guy. You got a beach in the sandbox.
Fuck that
You and I
sandbox,
are
right?
beach people. And sometimes you got to play in the sandbox in order to hang out on the beach
Because they're the ones writing rules, right? They're
all
the ones with the
day.
accreditation.
All day. Hashtag K crap. So, if you know, you know. If you don't, keep listening. So, next piece I want to dive into the mental health space, like
Hmm.
navigating the mental health space, providing services, taking care of you, the whole night.
Hmm.
Again, as Black men, I'm curious to know your experience, your thoughts, your perspective around mental health, mental wellness, especially for us as Black men.
Are you asking me as a patient or are you asking me as a clinician?
All the
Or
above. All the
that's
above.
what I was looking for because you can't have one without the other, goddamn
Come
it.
on, facts. Real quick. For the listeners, y'all paying attention, for especially for my therapists out there. It's okay to have a therapist, and if you don't got one, that means you're doing good enough.
No,
There's
that
three
means
type
you're
of
not
therapists.
doing it okay.
I'll take that. You're not doing okay either. Three types of therapists. You got horrible ones. We ain't got to talk about
Mhm.
them. Everybody talking about them. You got good ones who just do enough, and then you got great ones who do the work on themselves. As you can see with
Mhm.
these two black unicorns here, but we black with gold horns. We do the work. So you can speak to things that some people can't speak to, which is both sides. Because at any point in time, I don't care who you are, where you are, you can be on either side of the couch.
One
So
degree from separation.
let's get it. So tell us about both sides of these.
Oh, yeah. I am relearning how to be on the couch. And this doc program and my last blended family dynamic and like failed relationship, right? Like solidified that space, especially with my paternal conflict and co-parenting and all these other things while trying to pursue this PhD program. I will say that, excuse me, the reason I believe that if you don't have a therapist, or if you're a counselor who thinks you don't need a counselor, or whatever the hell you proclaim yourself to be, if you're not buying the service you're supplying, you're full of shit.
Mm,
And it's
mm,
because at a time like this, in a world full of verbal advocates, bro, we don't have enough action items or people engaged in action items. So you can't be as convicted and as verifiable if you don't even have a circle of friends who do what the fuck you do and you can't keep it real with and won't hold you accountable to your actual servitude.
mm,
And when I say servitude, I don't mean things you can write about or post. I don't mean things that provide social currency. I don't mean things that you can get in exchange for. I mean altruistically serving those in need through your ability to help heal and know where your own awareness and limits is because you cannot take anybody where you have not been, right? And that's what I have been getting frustrated with even my own cohort and faculty. It's like, look, at some point, the lost love language of accountability has to be deployed.
mm,
And if y'all are going to consider yourselves an elite group of therapists who are licensed, if you are going to consider yourself an educator of therapists pursuing license, if you are going to consider yourself an educator, a supervisor, or anything that provides tutelage, discipline, or guidance and mentorship, you need to be evaluating your fucking self because there's no way in hell you're good in a time where everything around you ain't.
mm. Whew.
So, right, if
Whew.
you ain't on no Black Mamba shit, then you're doing it wrong. And I'm not saying this is a call to action, but I'm saying this is a call in, period.
Mm.
There
Yes,
are no outs, right? There's no timeouts,
yes,
there's no call outs. This is a call in because at the end of the day, we need everybody on deck. And this
yes,
means everybody has to function at a certain quality,
yes,
right?
yes.
And if you can't be sharpened, then don't you dare try to sharpen no other fucking irons. Get out, move. Move. Just sit back and enjoy your private practice comfort or your ivory tower Howard status and just sit back. But you better not publish shit on those skills. You better not talk about you do whatever it is if you're not actively engaged because that would make you a liar.
All facts all day. Facts.
Sick of
So,
it.
so we've been in the basement. We finna go in the kitchen and cook. You've been cooking. We finna cook a little bit more. I'm curious. Out of from where you're from to where you are, from birth to where you are now, you have seen, you've done, you've experienced a lot. I'm curious to know what have you learned about people and what have you learned about yourself over all these years?
Ooh, as cliche as it will sound. Growth is the only thing optional and attainable by free will and choice.
Mm,
That's the people part.
mm-hmm.
Change is inevitable. So you either adapt and overcome, or you get left behind and you struggle with the dissonance, right, of your own impairment. So either
Mm,
you're arrested in development, right, and you're staying in a comfortable space, or you're choosing to challenge yourself at being the best version of yourself, knowing that comfort doesn't grow.
come on. Come on. Oh man, I'm loving all this. Please know. I don't know what I don't know what the listeners doing. I don't know what y'all doing over there. I'm having a good time. Okay.
But I'm having a blast because this is exactly what the game needs. Like this, these type of normalized conversations, man. This is how you clinically transcribe shit in cultural context. This is how you say, look, bro, you can't be good because I know for a fact, right? Things that we call hierarchy of status, which means your basic human needs, right? Safety, security, love, right? Food, right?
Yeah.
Those basic things, if one of those is out of whack, I know for a fact, right? Your body's not functioning the same way as your mind and spirit. So I
Hmm.
hear you, but let me ask you and invite you into your experience. How do you really feel?
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
Ask yourself these questions before you start performing for other people, right? And shit, we might have some honest things taking place.
All facts. All day. Next question. If there is a word, phrase, memory, or moment that has stuck with you personally or professionally, what would it be? What would you share?
Mm. The phrase "everything is figure outable." Um, what I will say, I've adopted like an alter ego kind of deal, right? And he's like my traumatic superhero comic book character, and it's dead ass. It's traumatic superhero, right? But the situation is instead of hold on, I had something for this and I lost it. Neurospice. I'll get it when it comes back. But there was something I had for it because I was just thinking about this shit.
Okay. All right. When it comes up, throw it out. What's an interesting fact about you? Things that people just wouldn't know. People that
Oh,
wouldn't wouldn't get.
that they wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I enjoy classical music, and I really want to relearn how to play the violin and learn how to play the piano. That would be nice. I enjoy peace from time to time. Oh, and that's my alter ego, the gray space gangster, right? So I operate in gray spaces all day because clinically, personally, everything has to be met in this in the in between, right? And so that's the
Mhm.
piece. Yeah.
Love it. Oh man. All right. So I ask every guest this same question because it's part of the show. Three parallels: who we were, who are becoming. So if you were to describe your old self, your current
hmm
self, your future self, how would you describe these three men?
Mm. Healing, but not healed.
Hmm.
And that's it, right? Like little three dots. Boop, 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 boop. Because it's a loading process, bro. Like in every version, this is like it's linking, right?
Uh-huh.
Every version, I learned to fight a lot better, a lot
Hmm.
safer, a lot more strategic. Every version, I learned to love a lot wholer, a lot more open, a lot less possessively. Every new season, right? I'm learning how to be more
Hmm.
present and less judgmental, right? To pass more compassion for self, including other people that have either wronged or who are still doing unconscious things and engaging in concepts in which they know are not necessarily helpful, but just working on that piece, man, and being okay with knowing that this is a forever work in progress. I'm like a
Hmm.
goddamn CV and resume right now. Like this shit's just always working, bro. And I gotta be okay with that because I have to give myself permission to engage in my anger and that justifiable rage because it's necessary at times when you have to overcorrect micro and macro assaults for the sake of those behind you and those who came and took the brunt of that shit before you.
Yeah.
So it stops right there at you, or at least, right? You can't fucking say I didn't let you know before you caught this aftermath and consequence, because I told you when we first started, no allyship allowed, only accomplices. So when you get your
Mm.
face blown off and you get put back in your lane, I don't want to hear it.
Let's go. Let's
Right,
go.
and you better think twice before you do it to the next one who looks like me, even if he doesn't act like me or he came from where I came from. I don't give a damn if he's a chocolate covered colleague. He deserves, she deserves, they deserve same due diligence and respect, right? As you're feeling in this moment of fear where you're getting corrected and I'll say readjusted, right, to your
Yes.
space.
Yes. Oh,
So right back.
yes. Yes. Yes.
You want to be a
Yes.
public servant? Well, serve publicly,
Come on.
right?
Come on. All day. Man. Whew. You have blessed me today. Okay. You have blessed me. And on this show, we offer life work. I don't like homework because you take it home, you do it, you don't remember it. Doesn't mean that much. Life work means everything because anytime your perspective changes, you change. And everything that you just discussed on this show changes a lot of people's perspective about a
Mhm.
lot of different things. So if you could offer some life work to the listeners, what would you share to help somebody pivot?
Mm. Think about your thinking. Try to see what you're actually looking at and determine your own definition and expectation in addition to what you've been taught to be true. Challenge everything, believe a little, right? But love all and trust none because at the end of the day, There is no absolute knowing. There is just the evolution of growing, right? And that's wide the fuck open for everybody.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Done and done. So if people want to connect with you, people want to love on you, support you,
Don't.
be there with you, people want to be a client of yours, people just want to be in
Don't.
your space.
Don't let me find you. Don't find me, God damn it. I'm like the wind. I'm everywhere I need to be and nowhere where I'm forced. You hear me? No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Go ahead, Doc. Uh, I'm radically
so,
hard-hearted lately
so
because
if you good,
I
you good.
can be.
Listen, if you don't want to be found,
No.
no pressure whatsoever.
Um, I got some stuff. All of my social handles are like CK Bumpus. Because I don't really get to do this that often. I am also a victim of my own fear of like, why even say all these things if they're going to fall on deaf ears? Especially when I know people are always looking for a way to target it as me being myself.
Mhm.
So, working on that piece of coming out of shell, which is why this was a huge, huge honor, and I am grateful for it. So CKB or CK Bumpus, the Minority Mental Health Initiative, excuse me, is my private practice operating primarily out of Colorado until it is fully registered here in Virginia, and my license is ported over here as well. I've focused mainly primarily on supervision, right, from a clinical aspect, because that's the next step in my professional journey as a nationally certified and licensed counselor. But y'all stay tuned. I'm working on some things as well, publications and all of the pieces. And because I do not believe in gatekeeping, I will have all that shit on open access, regardless of who has any fucking thoughts, says, or feelings about it, because it's my IP, goddamn. And if I need to put that shit on a Word document and give it to you, it's gonna be given to you at your request. So you better remember that education and information is supposed to be disseminated free of charge. It's supposed to be yours to have access to, and you have a right to it. So reach out and get it if you want it.
Ooh, mic drop. Mic drop. Mic drop. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
We need more spaces like this. Need to do this more. And this has been an absolute privilege. I appreciate y'all continuing to build the bridge and set the tone because there have been multiple times where I've questioned myself in this journey alone. Like, bro, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I look up and then I look back and I look down and I look all around and I'm like, oh shit, there's still more of us who got to get in and get the word. So work got to be done. So I appreciate y'all for still doing it and staying true to it and not being fucking Ivory Howard Towards like you got the right to be.
Well received. I love my flowers and I'll take all of them. So thank you for those flowers. I want to give you yours because I'm a fan of you, man. I'm a fan of yours because I remember when. And I remember how isolating it was to be
Mhm.
one of one, to be different, to be yourself and not feel comfortable being you because you're the only one in these places and spaces where you're navigating, decolonizing, you're doing all these different things, and it's just you until you connect with others and see, wait a minute, I'm not by myself, but I'm doing a lot of lifting, and you're speaking to the people that were before, and to me, you don't only represent the future, you represent the present. You're in the present. And I'm proud of you. I'm impressed by you. I love you. I appreciate you. And man, I can't believe we're here because I remember
Hmm.
when. I remember when, you know? And this radical authenticity that you have, more people need to see it, experience it, feel it, and do it because
Hmm.
you've proven that it's okay to be exactly who you are, period, point blank. So you are loved, you are valued, you appreciate it. If you ain't heard it, you're hearing it now, and it's live.
Okay.
So everybody and their mama hearing it too.
And that's
And
news.
and like who you are, what you represent, how you're moving, what you're going to do. I cannot wait to continue watching you win. Period, point blank, because you have no choice
All
but to win.
Ubuntu. I do because y'all did, goddamn.
Come on, come on. So, man, thank you 100%. Keep doing what you're doing. I will have you back because there's so much more that we can explore. And I appreciate you for being exactly who you are, man. 100%.
Ashe. Thank you and the elders for blessing me with the space to
Yes,
be as
indeed.
radically as I am.
You damn right. Y'all heard it here
Ah.
first. This has
Peace,
been a
Doc.
yes, yes. This has been another episode of Three Parallels Podcast with your host, the brother Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, embrace who we are, make room for who we're trying to become. If that is you. You're in the right place at the right time. If this episode has been a blessing to you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, give it away. Give it, share it, like, subscribe, whatever it is that you do to continue to be the gift that keeps on giving. Until next time, you have a great day, great morning, great evening, great life. Good night.
Yep.
Peace.
And go ahead.